Everybody, it's Reverend Will, the senior minister here at First Christian in Fulton, coming to you live for our midweek devotion. Every week about this time, we stop what we're doing, and I offer hopefully some words of grace. Since it's summertime, I thought I'd talk a little bit about trips. Whenever my wife and I take a trip somewhere lasting more than one night, I invariably stumble across the list she makes. It's a packing list, so she won't forget anything: toiletries, water bottles, headphones, all written on a legal pad. As our family has grown, so has her list: stuffies, pack and play, books. The legal pad is now 2 full columns whenever we go, and she meticulously cultivates this list over a few days before leaving, checking or crossing things off as she goes. Me, left to my own devices, I just throw stuff in a suitcase at the last second and hope for the best. Honestly, I think her way is a much more effective and less stress-inducing way of getting ready for travel. Every time we close the trunk on our Highlander, I'm gasping for air after hurriedly running around like a chicken with its head cut off. And don't ask Hannah how snippy I can be on those mornings. She's liable to tell you the truth. Now, maybe you're like her, or maybe you're like me. I hope you're more like her. God knows I try to be organized with a packing list. Well, when Jesus sent his disciples out to do ministry in his name, he sent them with a packing list. Well, it was more like the opposite of a packing list, a do not bring list, like some schools have. I wasn't supposed to bring a skateboard to high school, which was fine. I didn't skateboard. Anyway, Jesus was getting ready to send 70 of his disciples to towns and cities he's not been able to travel to. He's been meaning to visit them, but he hadn't yet. And now that he's on his way to the cross, having set his face toward Jerusalem, he's not going to be able to get everywhere he wanted and do everything he wanted to do. Even Jesus' summer bucket list went unfinished. So he gets some of his friends to go and do a little bit of the work he would do. But first, he gave them that list, that TSA list of items not allowed on your carry-on. He said, carry no wallet, no bag, and no sandals. Don't even greet anyone along the way. Imagine if you saw such a person on the side of the road today, your first thought wouldn't be, oh, that young woman is simply following Jesus' list as she goes and travels, sharing his news and ministry. Something a little bit more dismissive would probably pop in first. Wow, look at her gnarled feet. Where are her shoes? Her clothes have holes in them. Where is her bag with her extra pair of jeans and another shirt? She looks so gaunt. She probably doesn't have any money. And would we really be offended if this person didn't talk to us as we passed on the sidewalk? If we're honest, we'd probably be relieved because of our assumption. She's a ragamuffin, dirty, homeless, and in need of help. Jesus, you see, was sending his disciples out into the world in such a way that they would be dependent on other people's hospitality. They weren't to be self-sufficient or independent. Their non-packing list was designed to humble them, to receive people's kindness and love. And one of the remarkable things about the story is that the 70 were successful, regardless of whether or not they looked homeless. At least they were successful in a flashy way. When they returned to Jesus, they were astounded because they were able to drive demons out just by using Jesus' name. That wasn't what Jesus told them to do, but it did mirror some aspects of Jesus' ministry: defeat the powers of sin and death and deliver his people from the grips of evil. He does this even now. But that wasn't what Jesus sent them to do. They were to herald his coming, find out if the town was ready, and maybe even smooth over some rough spots. Nowhere did he say take action against his opponents. They were instead to receive. But Jesus doesn't chastise them. Instead, he continues his lesson of receiving. Their celebration is supposed to be for something other than continuing the work that he had started and would finish soon. He said, "Nevertheless, don't rejoice because the spirits submit to you. Rejoice instead that your names are written in heaven." Their names are written down in Jesus' book of life. Their fates are sealed and signed by his hand, not by anything they did. His grace covers their entire lives, ragamuffins or not. They were sent out, these disciples, wholly dependent on others and their mercy. Jesus was giving them an object lesson in faith that reverberates through the centuries down to you and me. We have nothing to boast about beyond what Jesus has done for us. See Galatians 6:14 and 15. The non-packing list Jesus gave his disciples for what's to come. He gave it to them to prepare them. Not just continuing his ministry of grace and mercy, but receiving it in the first place. The forgiveness and new life he gives are gifts, unable to be checked off on a legal pad. He gives them, whether we have checked off all the boxes or not. And that's good news to a non-listener like me. Thanks for joining me for this week's Midweek Devotion. I hope you heard that word of grace. You're invited to join us for worship this Sunday morning at 10:30. But if not, our blessing is the same as always. God be with you till we meet again. Bye.